Welcome to Author's Ideas, a production of JR Global, an MJR production. This series is based on the recent Oxford University Press published book, Global Business in the Age of Destruction and Distraction. As a part of their Global Business series, Gaurav Rastogi joins J.R. Klein and Mahesh Joshi in examining and exploring the disruptive nature of today's world, and introduces ideas for learning how to cope with disruption and remain relevant. Here is your host, J.R. Klein.
Today we talk about the culture of crisis. Now, crisis is really nothing new inside the human community. Generation after generation, and some might say to the beginning of human life on Earth, period, pretty much been filled with one crisis after another. But in 2019, society was faced with an unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. Now, when these pandemics sweep through society, they upend critical structures, such as healthcare systems, medical treatment, economic life, sort of the socioeconomic class structure and race relations, fundamental institutions, communities, and everyday life. There's a Pew Research Center survey reported that many experts think sweeping social changes make life worse for most people as they evidence greater inequality, rising authoritarianism, and sort of rampant misinformation which takes hold in the wake of a pandemic outbreak. Many of these experts said that their most profound worry is over the seemingly unstoppable manipulation of public perception, emotion, and action via online disinformation, with lies and hate speech deliberately weaponized to propagate destructive and bias and fears. An impact of the pandemic is the spread of misinformation as authoritarians and polarized populations wage warring information campaigns with their foes. The potential for continuing this seemingly unstoppable manipulation of public perception is significant. The Pew Report speculates this will cause significant damage to social stability, consistency, and a reduction in rational deliberation and evidence-based policymaking. Now, a portion of these experts express hope that changes spawned by this pandemic will make things better for a significant portion of the population. This is based on changes that inaugurate new reforms aimed at racial justice and social equality. They point to enhancements in the quality of life for many families and workers as more flexible workspace arrangements become permanent and communities adjust to them. There's been a long and somewhat protracted discussion on what the future of work and workforce and workplaces might look like. These discussions have been interrupted by an unexpected event that quickly accelerated their movement into the future. This destruction and distraction suddenly became more than just theoretical. The concept of leadership style, individual and corporate learning, corporate structure, and traditional thinkings have been turned on their heads. The playbook has not only changed, it's been discarded with no replacement anticipated. Traditional concepts have been shattered. Issues of inequality become more prevalent. Countries have been dealing with these inequities for some time. The pandemic accelerated the quick pivot to digital-driven systems, have widened racial and other divides, and expanded the ranks of the unemployed, the uninsured, and the disenfranchised. Power balances between the advantaged and the disadvantaged have been magnified. The pandemic aggravated the chaos of the world. Complexity and uncertainty, companies are looking for new kinds of leadership skills to handle this changed environment. Some of these new skills are that leaders and must be able to express themselves and try a new leadership style. This new style must be creative and intuitively able to sort through the chaos and make sense of them as they happen. Based upon this confidence, leaders will respond to markets quickly using comparative situations, cast situations, to build creative solutions. These leaders must learn to think and build strong intuition. They must master the ability to tell stories about the future that help their teams organize their thoughts. New leaders must have an attitude and an appetite for failure. They have to develop a thick skin, a personal resilience to be wrong enough before being right. These concepts, which were previously scrutinized before the pandemic, are now suddenly front and center. A leader's job is no longer only to solve problems, but to create an organizational culture capable of creating solutions. The culture must entail aspects of empathy and intuition that value the community's voices. Leaders must model how to be continuously adaptable, highly creative, innovative, and highly resilient. Leaders must be diligent and aware of the health of the culture. They have to carefully look at the culture that is being created around them and be continuously active at curating that culture. They must build the bridge to the future while walking on it.
Thank you for listening. If you are interested in more of the author's ideas, look for their Oxford University Press published books on global business, wherever books are sold. If you are interested in contacting the authors, they can be reached at info@jrglobal.co.